People believe that purchasing power is not determined by exchange rate but by income. Example is that if the exchange rate is 2000 naira per dollar, but people earn a minimum wage of 300,000 naira, it is better than an exchange rate of 700 naira per dollar, but with a minimum wage of 30,000 naira. For the sake of those that are not familiar with the economic term purchasing power, let me quickly define it. Purchasing power is the amount of goods and services that a single unit of currency can buy. Example, if you purchase a sachet of milk for 1 naira, but the following year, a sachet of the same milk costs 2 naira, the purchasing power of 1 naira change. But wait, how does this correlate with the minimum wage in Nigeria? Nigeria is called the giant of Africa, a country with abundant natural and human resources, the richest country in terms of GDP in Africa. Nigerian currency is called Naira, and Nigeria is hugely import heavy. The country basically imports everything including petroleum products, despite its huge potential and export capacity of about 1.3 million barrels per day. This had made the nation's economy to be completely dollar-oriented. A slight increase in the value of dollar will depreciate the Naira and the price of commodities will skyrocket. Recently, there is a transition of government from former President Buhari to President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The president made it known to the country during his inaugural speech that fuel subsidy is gone.
The fuel subsidy is gone.
Few hours after this announcement, Nigerians began to see a hike in pump price. This action further made things worse as inflation hit the nation harder instantly. Nigeria is a country where the price of petroleum basically determines the price of everything. Things further get worse when the same administration announced the unification of foreign exchange. By this new policy, it means that the government will no longer determine the value of Naira. This means that the process of demand and supply will determine the value of Naira, thus making it to float in the money markets. The purchasing power of Naira dropped massively. The country's currency has now reached an all-time low since its creation in 1973, exchanging at 1,040 Naira per dollar. Nigeria is in the midst of cost of living crisis, as inflation and currency depreciation are going up every day. This makes the organized labor to start protesting as well as meeting with the government officials to demand for an increase in minimum wage. But the question is, will an increase in minimum wage address the current hardship in the country? Let's briefly go back to history. 13 years ago, the then President of Nigeria, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, increased minimum wage from 5,500 naira to 18,000 naira. The exchange rate was about 156 naira per dollar by that time, which made the minimum wage to stood at $115 per month. But before the end of the President Jonathan's administration, exchange rate falls to 199 naira per dollar, which further made the minimum wage to lose its initial value as well as its purchasing power due to Naira depreciations. The minimum wage dropped from $115 per month to $90 per month. 9 years after the value of the minimum wage further depreciated to $50 per month, President Buhari approved the increase of minimum wage from 18,000 naira to 30,000 naira. The exchange rate was about 360 naira per dollar by that time, making the new minimum wage to be equivalent to $83 per month. Naira is consistently declining over time. The currency lost 99.92% of its value in just 50 years of its creation. Nigeria is hugely import heavy. Exchange rate is the biggest factor affecting the country's net disposable income. No matter how many digits will be added to the current minimum wage, distortions as well as dips in the forex market will ultimately make it useless. Besides, salary increment will only jack up the amount of Naira in circulation, thereby adding to the already terrible inflation rate. Increasing minimum wage without working on the exchange rate first will further throw the country into another economic crisis. The government needs more dollars as well as good governance to curb the forex scarcity. The country needs a stable and stronger Naira more than an increase in minimum wage.